Hello and good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, hi. Very, very well. This is Christopher Sharp here.
You guys, this documentary is life-changing. It's life-moving. I got to tell you, I realize that it's the people's president, but can I say that you're also the people's prophet? Your message is so powerful, Bobby and Christopher, because it is a place of personal growth.
Thank you very much.
I'm so humbled.
It's coming at such a very needed time. Do you feel it inside your soul that, whoa, here we are, and look at the world, but I bring peace? You've got to be feeling that inside of both of your hearts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, going back to when I first met Bobby and his wife, Barbie, in 2017, I was just completely blown away by them. I'd never met anyone quite like them. There was this very successful musician who had everything going for him. He had this incredible wife. He had 4 beautiful children. And there he was, embarking on what was clearly a very dangerous journey, and a journey that could well have got him killed.
Yes.
He didn't need to do it, but heroically, him and the people around him stepped forward, and they have gone up against an incredibly brutal regime. And the film shows exactly what happens.
Your courage and confidence, Bobby, when you say, I'm not scared of nothing, what's there to be scared about? I love that. That's something that you can plant in the world's people.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
To gain this strength, is it because you lived off the street? Because you say, I'm already the president. I'm the president of the ghetto. I mean, that's somebody who really knows what's going on in life.
Honestly, I would not call myself very strong. I wouldn't say I'm very courageous. I would just say maybe I'm desperate. Maybe there's no other alternative but to try and be a little courageous, because we don't have so much option. Honestly, if I had an option, maybe I would prefer a lighter option. But we don't have an option. We just have to stand and face the brutality.
You know, one of the things that I've learned in being a broadcaster, Christopher, is the fact that back in the 1960s, the musicians had a voice. And for you to find this voice in Uganda, this blows me away, because it still proves that the creative mind is still connected to the real people.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I grew up in Uganda, so kind of Bobby's music was very much on my radar. But I mean, the music initially was fantastic. And then just being able to find such extraordinary people was very special.
Bobby, how is it that you've been stoned and yet you keep moving through the mountain? How is it that you find, because so many preachers around the world talk about moving through the mountain, and we're seeing it happen right here before our eyes on this documentary on National Geographic?
I must say that besides all that oppression, hope is stronger than this pain. We feel like the fire that burns inside us burns hotter and brighter than the one that burns around us. We keep going, because every time we look around, we see so many people believing the same, encouraging us to go on. Everything we look at proves to us that we are right, that it's a just cause, that it is worth it. So the sense of worthiness, it is a worthy cause. That alone keeps us going.
Christopher, you know, from the sidelines, we as viewers watch, but you stepped into the story, the violence, the torture. How do you prepare your heart to take the lens of that camera to bring us the story?
Well, we had some amazing cameramen, including my co-director, Moses Bawayo. And then we had, we ended up with, when Bobby goes out, there's always lots and lots of people with him. There's tons of cameramen, there's tons of people on social media. And what we actually did is we gathered 4,000 hours of footage over 6 years. And then we spent 2 years in the edit suite putting it all together. I mean, our problem, was we had so much material and we had so many different stories we could have told. It was just deciding which story was the strongest. The other thing that happened is we filmed so much violence. We interviewed people who'd been tortured. We interviewed people who had had their fingers cut off, eyes plucked out, all sorts of horrendous things. But at the end of the day, we felt that the story was best told by staying as close as possible to Bobby and Barbie. You know, to the extent when Bobby first saw the film, he said, "Why did you make Museveni look so good?" And I kind of knew what he meant, because even though in the film Museveni comes across as a very brutal, calculating dictator, the reality of actually what went on and the way people suffered and the way people were abused, and, you know, many people disappeared, never to be found. It just absolutely horrendous. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of brutality in the film, but trust me, there was a lot more out there.
Wow. Bobby, a couple of weeks ago, our president said that broken democracy is not found at the end of a barrel. It's in the silence. And I sat there and I thought, the silence. And then I saw your documentary, Creating Music for Voiceless People. Oh, my God, Bobby.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
But to bring it forward, there's so many things that you're doing with your music and your movement in the way that I'm being reminded of Bob Marley, Tupac Shakur, Mandela. There's so much of that energy inside of you.
Yeah, actually, the music alone helps us not only communicate, but it helps us keep going. I mean, just like back in the days, you know, of slavery, of colonialism, back in the days of all the revolutions, music played a big role. So even to us, music played a big role. And also, music was good because they never saw this coming. The regime in Uganda never saw it coming. They always looked at me as just a musician. If they learned that maybe one day I might go for more serious conversations, they probably would have stopped me earlier. But they let me go in, and I sank into the hearts of the people, and I was able to communicate deeply to them. Maybe that also helped, and it's inspiring other musicians to use music positively for change.
Yeah. Christopher, you know how people are around the world. They see a documentary like this and they want to help. They want to do more. Is there a website where people can help donate money to the cause, or they can find out better ways to spread the word in their own places on the planet?
Yeah, I mean, we really need, you know, the most important thing for me, the team, and for Bobby and his team is awareness. You know, Uganda is a country that, particularly in America, people aren't, it's not really on people's radar, but it's also a country that the American government and the European governments put an awful lot of money into. And what is really tragic is, you know, this Museveni and his regime have been there for 40 years. They've changed the constitution, they've cheated, they've done anything, they've used violence, they've done anything to stay in power. But the American government and the European government continues to support them. They continue to give them billions of pounds, and a lot of that money goes into military equipment that's then turned against the people. I mean, the big tragedy for everyone, and particularly for me, and the thing that made me saddest, is Bobby and his team went through the whole election playing by the rules. They were non-violent, they were democratic, they did everything totally by our book. And at the end of the day, after Museveni had cheated, robbed and killed, the American government and the European government and the British government, they all said, oh, the elections were flawed, you know, how disappointing, you know, we're deeply troubled. And then within a couple of months, it's business as usual. You know, the money's pouring back into Uganda. We're doing all sorts of deals with them. We have to stand with people who have adopted our values. We have to stand with them. Otherwise, the whole thing becomes a total farce.
Yeah, thank you very much. And maybe if I could just very quickly add that awareness for us is a lifeline. Awareness is what kept me alive, because I was abducted a while ago, and it's people that raised awareness. Today is Independence Day, and I was under house arrest until just yesterday. Right now, as we speak, our party office is locked down. 2 of my colleagues are in detention. That is the spokesperson of my party. and the Secretary General. Why? Because we were holding prayers at our party offices. So things like that will go on until the world speaks out, until the world helps us to shine a light to the voices that matter. So awareness wherever and whenever.
Whew, I love where your heart is. Please come back to this show anytime in the future. This platform belongs to you. Anytime you need to get the word out. Look, it's streaming. We're around the world.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for giving us this platform. We really appreciate it.